ball a little bit and try to get a paint touch before we make a play. And I think that's the kind of things you have to teach young people.
And how about as a coach, the balance between being patient with either individuals or the group,
being demanding. That's one of Coach Knight's old quotes. Great balance that great teachers have between being patient and demanding. I think that's one of the most challenging things to do, is to know when to be what, and to how patient can you be. Sometimes when you're too patient, development doesn't happen fast enough. You're constantly waiting for guys to improve and get better, and then obviously when you're demanding too much, you can curtail development. And so I think that's the key to coaching, to be honest with you. And it's really understanding the relationships of the players to understand what they need, to how you can then apply those two principles.
Does the makeup of this team, Brad, give you a little leeway to be less patient just because of this?
I mean, at times, I think, you know, when you have older guys, I think, you know, you certainly, they've been through some things, and so I think you've got to be careful. It's a long season, that you're not on the hammer all the time, but at the same time, I think you have expectations that these guys know need to be met, and when they're not being met, either by them or other players on the team at a certain point, you know, discussion needs to happen to make sure that we get to those expectations. And our guys understand that, they appreciate that. I think if you're open and honest with them, they'll get you where you need to be.
So, do we assume now that your program is in a place where it can sustain excellence from year to year?
I don't know. I hope so. Certainly, that's the next step for our program, is to be consistently good. You know, we've had some nice seasons at times, and I think we've been, you know, fairly competitive in the league in certain years back to back. But I don't know that we've ever, you know, gotten to the top part of the league, and certainly haven't made runs into the Sweet 16 and things like that. And that's our next step as a program. That's what we're trying to do. It's certainly what we've talked about with our players, but it's also very challenging. Every season's different. This year's team, we have an older, experienced group. Obviously, next year's team will be a little bit younger. So, you know, we feel good about this year's team, where we are, and you know, hopefully those guys will be hungry and they seem motivated to try to build on what we did last year.
Brad, the front of your ACC schedule is pretty heavy loaded this year.
Yep.
How do you manage that when you look at it and you go to your team and you go and attack that? What's your approach to that early season schedule?
Yeah, I haven't paid too much attention. You know, I've been asked that question before, and you're always going to have periods in this league where you have 2 to 3 weeks that look like they're insurmountable, with unbelievably challenging games and lots of road games and quick turnarounds, and, you know, several top 15 teams that you're going to play. That's just the nature of playing in the ACC. You know, I don't think you worry about that too much, or you're not going to sleep very well. And so you mostly just concentrate on what's right in front of you. And so right now we're just focused on our non-conference and Citadel in our first week.
Are there any takeaways or lessons to be learned for the guys coming back who maybe experienced that you know, huge celebration and winning that second round game, and then, you know, 3-4 days later, I know it's maybe some opportunities to advance further?
Yeah, I think we, you know, I don't think we thought we played very well against Kansas, especially in the first half. A little bit tentative, turned the ball over, just uncharacteristic, poor play and stretches. And hopefully, you know, our guys understand that. We've talked about it a little bit, just that, you know, we understand what we need to do, how we need to play when you're playing against the best teams in the country to advance. And, you know, the margin is small, but at the same time, when we do play well, when things are going well, like the Auburn game, you know, we can be a very good team that's hard to beat. And when we share it, when we're confident, when we're aggressive defensively, that gives us a great opportunity to beat anybody.
Brad, Mike Bray was saying the room is split when it comes to A-20 conference games and B, starting next season with conference games. Where do you fall in that split, and why?
I'm the 20 conference games are a lot. That's a lot, but I'm okay with it. because I understand, you know, ACC Network, the importance of it, you know, what it means for our league. I think it's, you know, I think it's significant that we're getting the ACC Network, to be honest. I think, you know, and I watch a lot of the other networks. And so I do think it's important. So if that's what we need to do to help do that, then I'm all for that. And I'm fine with playing it first game. I really am. I mean, I think we're trying to send a little bit of a message that, you know, hey, college basketball's here. Let's try to get the fan bases, especially in my area, thinking about basketball as well. The best way to do that is to have a big-time game. And if our league's doing that the first week, it will wake some things up a little bit. You know, everybody will settle into it. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to play your 20 games, and it will be a game or two that's going to be different because teams aren't going to be the same in November that they are in February. But through the course of 20 games, it'll all play itself out, I think.
Yeah, have you mentioned, especially in your area, but just it seems in the college football playoff era that the basketball open has just been dwarfed because everybody's talking about who's in the top 4.
Yeah.
So is this then a way to combat that?
I think it's a start, and I think that you know, by having more teams doing it instead of just, you know, 4, 6, 8 of the top programs being the only ones that play, you know, I think now you're going to, the markets where the other teams are now, because we're doing these kinds of things, are going to, you know, our fan bases are going to pay attention as much, and I think that's important, especially to get, you know, there is a lull there in early December and whatnot when, you know, we're not as worried about the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl and basketball is going on, and I think, you know, we need to capitalize on that. Obviously, when the Final Four football is being played, all eyes are going to be on that. And my eyes are on that. It's a big thing. We enjoy it, but there's also a lot of basketball in December that we want our fans to see. And I think playing a few conference games in that month is going to be good for our league and for our fan bases.
Brad, you were a mid-major guy before this. What do you think that does, though? Big Ten, you guys going to 20.
Yeah.
How does that affect them as far as being able to schedule you guys and being able to get out large?
It's more challenging. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be more challenging for those teams to get a bid. You know, and it's never going to be fair. I mean, life isn't fair. I mean, we knew that there. You're going to have to schedule games against teams probably on the road. You're going to have to, and that's where you're going to significantly make an impact. You know. And we've scheduled some games against teams and are scheduling games against teams that are good teams that are trying for that purpose. We're doing it to improve our RPI, which I guess maybe isn't as important now as our new metric.
The net.
The net.
The net. Is that what it's called?
We got to get this right.
The net. But at the same time, you know, you're not going to get home and homes with high majors and mid majors. That's just not going to happen regularly. So you're going to have to go play teams on their floor and win. And you know. No, it's not fair. And if I were a mid-major coach, I'd be upset about it. But at the same time, it's, you know, it's just the nature of the beast right now.
Brad, is it the same thing with scheduling other Power 5 league games? Like, would you not play Mississippi State if you're playing
Maybe,
more
yeah. There'll be some times when that'll certainly happen. You know, you have to look at your schedule in every season in a way that, you know, you're playing 20 ACC games. We play South Carolina. We play an ACC Big Ten Challenge. We're going to have ACC tournament games. We're probably playing in a multi-team event that's going to have high major teams. We need to fill a home schedule to make sure that our season tickets are where they need to be. And so you're not going to have as many other non-conference games. It's like the whole 8-9 football in conference football that they're all arguing about whether to have 8 or 9 games. If we go to 20, it could be at the expense of a game or two of high majors a little bit. At the same time, you've got to have some games where you're building your rhythm, you're playing more guys, young players get a chance to play and develop, have some success. You're not traveling all over the place to where your guys get to be in school for a good bit of time, and you can have consistent practices to develop and get better. So there's certainly a yin and yang, and you're going to give up something when you go to 20 games.
You guys are ranked in the preseason top 25 for the first time since 2009. Does that mean anything to you guys as a team, and how do you approach the season, you know, going into the season with that type of.
Well, we're
those
certainly
accolades?
proud of it, but at the same time, we've already had this discussion with our team that it doesn't matter what other people think about us. Last year, they didn't think we were very good when we were picked 13th in the league. This year, we've been picked higher, and that doesn't matter. It just matters how we perform and how we work every day, whether we want to sacrifice for one another, how we're going to compete, approach practice, and all those kinds of things. So we certainly appreciate it, and it's good for our program, but it's not what we're trying to do. We really need to worry about what we're doing every day. If we do that, we'll be okay.